I have yellow, I have different blues here and browns and a black. So I think that's black. No, that's purple. So I'm going to take, if you don't have the right colors, like brown, you can mix them to create your own black. Or let's see if that's black. That's blue too. Oh, I got a lot of blue here. That must be black right there. So add a little water first to it and mix it and stay there and visit there for a while. Just like that, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is paint by Steve Quiller. It's a very, very good paint, and you can test out here what it looks like. And I want you to paint all of your shapes. You can go over where this is so transparent, and I'm going to use browns in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you can see this paint that I'm going to be giving you. So here's some brown. Is actually a very, very good paint that professionals use. And I'm going to add some blues in here. And I'm going to mix about 2 or 3 colors at a time. And even if it's a little off in terms of looking purple, in the end, on film, it'll look black. You can probably see that it looks pretty black as it is. So you can go over your lines. You don't have to stay inside the shape of the lines, but you do want to go over, not under. So if you have some lines painted here, you want to go over them. You don't want to do this. You don't want to go like this and miss this whole area because you were so focused to paint the rest of this. You want to get every shape like that. And it doesn't take a long time to paint an animated figure, but you do want to get it right, you know, exactly the color that you want. I'm going to leave those claws to be a different color. And it'll be interesting to see how the watercolor actually dries a whole lot lighter. So you want to get darker with watercolor because it dries light. It'll be interesting as you see this starts to dry, all your black lines that you did earlier will show through. That's what makes watercolor so exciting. It's a very transparent medium. And it's a medium where light passes through the color, bounces off the white paper, and gives it a transparent glow that we really love. And in film, there's no better medium actually to paint with other than some opaque watercolor. But watercolor, for the most part, is perfect for film. Okay, and I'm just about done. I'm going to go and do this head. Now think with the head, I'm going to add more of the yellow. Right around in here, I'm going to add some light brown. You can see I got a little bit of, and I'm going to make that come all the way back. Now it doesn't look like a whole lot now, but it's going to look pretty good later as it begins to dry and as we start to put this together. And you'll have a little more color than I have. I needed a little more color, a little more of the black colors. That's why I chose this palette. There's the nose. And then there's the ears up here. And voila. Okay, now we're going to show you how to actually cut these out. I use an X-Acto knife. You may also use regular scissors. Scissors will do the same thing. You want to be very careful this time to include as much detail as possible. And as you continue to cut, I'm going to continue to cut with these scissors. You want to cut in such a way where you're not leaving white. White acts like a flare on a painting and it really shows up, maybe more than you want it to. So you can always go back in and cut details, but you don't want to leave a lot of white outline. Cutting right around this whole thing right here. And see, I'm going to cut off that little piece of white right there. So I'm right down. All I have to the body now. All I have left to do is that, and I can start to put this together. It'll be really exciting. So that would be the next step. Now you want to save this piece that has a lot of paint on it, because if you decide you want to make something else, or if you lose one of these pieces, it'd be a whole lot easier to make one out of a painted shape than it would be to have to try to match a paint on a shape that you lost. You can always go back in and do this kind of thing and make it a little more interesting and a little more broken up. You know, that kind of thing. And then put it together. See what it looks like? This one goes behind, this one goes in front, and then the foot here, and then the foot here. Then you're going to have that one there. That's the front leg. This is the back leg. 1 foot here and 1 foot there. You're going to have the neck. Now the neck is going to have that hump. So we want that little bit of hump right there. Then we're going to want the bear and his mouth. He has a drop-down mouth, so this is going to enable him to growl and open and shut his mouth. Then you're going to have an ear here, and you're going to have an ear in the back that's going to be a little darker and a little bluer. So I'm going to put that way back here, and I'm probably going to put it a little lower too. And then the tail right there. And what you have is an animated bear. Now the thing about this, it's not put together, so the next step would be to not lose these pieces. If you take a break or go away from your project for any length of time, you want to save all your pieces. And it might be that as you play around with this, you find out that certain shapes look better on top of other shapes. But it kind of is a very frustrating character to kind of animate right now on film, because everything moves all over the place and it would take a long, long time. So I'm going to show you how to put this character together like a paper doll so it actually moves without a whole lot of things falling apart. So in order to put this whole animated character together, you're going to need string, and I usually use just cotton string, and you're going to need some duct tape. And your duct tape is going to be cut into very, very fine strips. I like to use an X-Acto knife for this, but if you don't have one, you can still use your scissors and cut them into little strips, maybe up to 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 6. And I'm going to show you 2 different ways of doing it. One way would be if this was the back leg, and I have it, and this is the front of the leg right here, and I have it in the right position like this, and this is the back leg. Or this goes like that. That's more right. Then I want to kind of hold that like that, and I want to put my string on this one first. So I take my tape, everybody can see that, and I tape right up to the edge, not over. You don't want a lot of ying and yawing, which means that the piece moves a lot. So you want to bring it right to the edge. And if you have tape, you can always take that's left over and showing, you can always trim that with your scissors. And then take your fingernail and press really hard to make that really adhere to and stick to the watercolor paper. So far so good. And then I'm going to put this, I thought right there would be good, right about like that. So I'm going to put that right about in this place right here. So here's where I'm going to take tape again. And I'm going to tape so that I can still move it. I'm not going to tape on this piece, the leg piece, but I'm going to tape right up next to it, right up. It's actually going to touch it, but not be overlapping and any way stopping the movement. So now this can move back and forth. And I'm going to trim the excess tape. Now that's one way of doing it, and now I have a leg that actually moves, okay? So the other thing Another way of doing it is to try to figure out where the other leg will go. So if this is the back leg that moves, we want this one to move too. And so what we do is we put a hole right in the middle of where we want it to go. I used an X-Acto knife again, and this is where you want to be really, really careful when you're drilling a hole. You could use a nail or you could use a pin, and whatever actually will help you to get the string through. And this one's a little different. So you are going to take the tape and you're going to find the middle of where your hole is. And mine's going to be approximately that way, right about that high and in the middle. And the other thing you're going to do is you're going to bring this tape back and you're going to tape right there. And the other thing I like to do, and see I've already run out of tape, so I'm going to quickly make some more. I'll make some bigger ones now. Is I'm going to go up right beside it on this side, and then I'm going to go right beside it on the other side. And now that's going to be really hard to pull out. The end of the tape is there, so generally I like to kind of anchor it all down, and with my fingernail press really hard right here. Now this piece of tape is going to want to go through this hole. So thread the hole with your nail, or what I have right now is the tip of my X-Acto knife, being sure where your hands are. And then pull it through. When you pull this through, this is where it really starts to look pretty awesome. And you can see the legs really do look pretty good. And I like it, I like it. All right, so now I'm going to take the other tape I have left, and I'm going to tape that down so it doesn't move on this side. And I'll trim this right off because I don't need that excess. And now I have two legs, one that moves in the front and one that moves in the back. And so now I'm finally going to finish my last piece. And just to show you how it is, you actually want to tape right up to the very edge and not overlap at all, okay? And that's a quick review. And we're going to put that one just like that. And I know it's going to go about here, so I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to tape this one right next to, touching but not overlapping. A yi and yaw is when you can go like this, and see there's not a whole lot of movement there because it's right up against it, but if you tape over it, it won't move at all because the tape will stop it from moving. But I want it to move back and forth like this, okay, and not up and down. Okay, so I have it, and let's take a look at what we have. Have it all done. Front legs, ears, mouth. So I'm going to do that. And his ears could be back. His leg is in a weird position. That's the way it is with animation. Everything. Oh, I didn't forget the tail though. Looked like I did. And we'll move back. Get all the feet in the right position. And it's a lot easier to animate because he's not falling all apart, and he looks pretty good. Now let's put the bear on a painted background. This is a watercolor painting that was done years ago.